Well, after winning their third league championship in as many years, the Lloyd Comp Barons headed into the offseason with a plan to make it 4 in a row. But as Aaron Streck tells us, the goals are still the same, but the leading man in charge is different.
Red 80! Red 80! Set! Hut! Hut!
Duke Young has stepped up and grabbed the reins of the Barons offense.
Green 19! Green 19! Set! Hut! Shut that flush! Shut that...
An offense that was supposed to be run by last year's backup, Colton Hippie.
I was really surprised because Colton was the starting quarterback and I'm good friends with him, but it's a new opportunity, a new challenge, so I'll just take the best of it.
With Hippie transferring to Holy Rosary, Young's teammates have his back.
He's got perfect accuracy, like he's as Hippie, if not better.
Young knows with the new role comes new responsibilities.
Just like leadership and taking charge and running the team as Mr. Kelly tells me to, and just do my best and we'll win.
Last year's Male Athlete of the Year will make his first start behind center this Friday at home against the St. Paul Lions. He'll be working with a bare-bone lineup as numbers are down for the Barons this season.
We lost 22 grads last year, so it's going to be tough to fill the shoes that they've left, but you know what, our grade 12s and our grade 11s, our returning guys, need to step up, and from there we build in other little team building activities so these guys come together, and hopefully by the end of the year our main guys on both sides of the ball take control.
It'll be a challenge for sure, but I think we'll overcome it, so it won't be a big deal.
The school year hasn't even started, and Young is already feeling the heat.
This team has won 3 straight championships. Is that a lot of pressure on you this year to make it 4?
Yeah, it's quite a bit of pressure, but I don't know, we'll see where it goes and hopefully we do the best we can.
Aaron Streck, Newcap Sports.
Well, for an aspiring hockey player, making the NHL is the end goal. For a football player, the CFL or the NFL are the top prizes. But for a mixed martial artist, fighting for the Ultimate Fighting Championship is the pinnacle achievement. And as Jacob Zare explains, for former EFC welterweight champ Mitch Clark, that call came last week.
Mitch Clark will carry his unblemished professional record into the Octagon in Toronto on December 10th. It's something he's been working towards for years, but even though the contract is signed, it still doesn't feel quite real.
If you spend all these years, you're like, I want to fight in the UFC, I want to fight in Japan, I want to do something big in this sport. I want, basically I want to be remembered. And then you get there, you're like, well, now what?
He'll be facing 7-1 Josh Cholik from New York, also making his UFC debut. He's got a wrestling background like Clark.
The only thing that's really set in is how hard I'm going to have to work for this fight, and realistically how many haters I had coming into this.
But despite already weathering some early criticism from those haters in the fight community and in online forums, Clark won't let it get to him, no matter where his career path takes him.
I know who are the people who have been there with me since day one or have helped me along the way. I know those people won't go away. I could be fighting in Battle in the Bar in '73, they'll be there. I could be fighting in UFC for a title, they'll be there.
And some of those people are right here in the border city. Clark has been training locally off and on since he began his MMA career. Although he had to give up his EFC welterweight belt some time ago to focus on bigger promotions, his most recent fight was back with the organization, and he came back last week to work out again.
People in Lloyd gave me an opportunity in EFC, and they've really helped me build my brand almost. They've all supported me, so I'm really happy to have been part of this club in the earlier stages.
Jacob Zare, Newcap Sports.
And the good news keeps coming for fight fans here in the Midwest region. Lloydminster is set to host EFC 10. The event will feature top local products like Kelly Gervais and Greg Walsh, who will be featured in the main event with the EFC featherweight title is on the line. Tickets are available at World Class Gym, the Cooler Nightclub, and Sound Obsessions. EFC 10 hits the border city the 1st of October. Well, in football, you need the uprights. Baseball, it's the bases. And in hockey, nets. But none of these sports would be what they are today without rules and the men and women who wear the stripes that are there to enforce them. The number of on-ice officials in the border city may have been on the decline, but thanks to the Lloydminster Minor Hockey Association, that won't be the case for much longer.
He's only got 2 minutes left, right? He's got 2 minutes. Those aren't coincidental penalties. They did not happen at the same stoppage of play.
This weekend, over 40 kids showed up for the first day of referee clinics, a number that grew as the weekend progressed.
Last year we were pretty shorter refs here, and I know I like the sport of hockey and many people do, so I help out in it so we can still take part in the sport.
The numbers show 50% of these kids won't come back next year, and so our goal is to make it positive enough for them to come back, to want to come back next year.
The 2-day clinic was jam-packed with new and old rules to learn.
We go through everything, penalties, procedures, what it takes to be a referee, some of the things that we expect of them. Tomorrow we'll have an on-ice session for an hour and a half, and then we'll get into the rules and go right through the rule book. So it's actually two pretty intense days of learning, and it's a lot of information for these kids to take in.
The goal of the clinic was to not only bring out the best official, but the best player in each participant.
It helps in the game too when you play, and helps on the ice too. You can support other kids and help some coaches out even too.
Well, staying with hockey now, the Lloydminster Bobcats are 3 games into their preseason campaign, and so far the new look orange and black, it has been 3 up and 3 down. The Cats outscored all of their opponents 15-6 cumulatively, with 8 of those goals coming this weekend in back-to-back wins against the South Division's Camrose Kodiaks. The next test for the Cats, who are nearly down to a final roster, will be Wednesday in Bonnyville. And when the Pontiacs host the Cats, they will be looking for revenge after a 7-1 all-rookie loss last week to the Cats and their first win of the preseason. In addition to losing record-setting netminder Julian LaPlante this year, the Pons are still trying to fill the voids left by veterans like Donnie Harris, Man Montesano, and Devin Kalinsky. Well, it is not the big show, but over 50 13-year-olds laced them up this weekend in hopes of cracking the Lloydminster Bantam AAA Universal Heat. And as Aaron Streck tells us, this year's camp had a different feel. It wasn't just the new coaching staff, but a new attitude.
The Heat's new head coach, Lance Ward, watched from above as the AAA hopefuls battled it out on the ice.
The expectations are all on myself and to put together a good coaching staff, develop these kids.
55 kids showed up to camp. Ward knows he can't keep them all.
We're talking about 13-year-old kids here. We're not talking about getting cut from an NHL team here. If somebody doesn't make my team, they've got a AA team to play on here that's really good, and there's a ton of options for kids these days.
3 players from last year's squad that was swept in the first round of the playoffs are returning. They know their experience will be valued.
Just be a leader and set a good role for all the other players coming up, something to look up to.
The changes in the offseason has kept excited for the upcoming year.
The new coaching system is going to be great. It's a great idea to have the progression right through all 3 stages of minor hockey there for the elite division.
The players will take part in an inter-squad game Monday night. Ward says he has an idea of what he's looking for.
I think speed and smarts. I know that's kind of a cliche and obvious, but the faster you are, the smarter the kids are. You can work on puck handling, you can work on systems.
Aaron Streck, New Cap Sports.